I think for a lot of people, there isn't like a clear sign, a clear thing that screams, I'm ready. I think a lot of people go back into dating, especially after a long-term relationship, feeling unsure. And I think that that is a very normal experience. And I think that a lot of times you're not going to have this like bright, shiny neon sign telling you like it's time. I think that it's going to feel uncomfortable for most people when you're trying to step back into the dating scene. It's a lot of unfamiliarity. It's a big transition from what you've just come off of. And so I think for a lot of different reasons, putting yourself out there in small ways to show yourself that you're capable of dating again is like the best place to start. And it will tell you faster, I think, whether or not you're ready to date than if you were to just wait for a sign.
Yeah. I don't think readiness is something that happens to you. I think it's something that you decide.
Yeah.
It's a mindset. And you sound like you're kind of treating it like a destination, which is very human of you. I do this all the time. You're kind of thinking one of these days the fog is going to lift and the sign that says you're healed, proceed to dating, that lights up and you're there. But that doesn't actually exist. It's you deciding how it is that you want to feel. You can talk to yourself in the context of I'm becoming a man who is working towards being ready to date again. Like if you don't feel 100% ready, but you're taking the steps to getting there because that's where you want to be, then that's the way you need to talk to yourself. But outsourcing it as if there's going to be a sign that you're actually finally ready, or there's something that you will achieve that makes you ready, is actually kind of a scapegoat, because that readiness or that goalpost is just going to keep moving.
Yeah. It's kind of an unintentional avoidance tactic.
Right. Right. And I also think that the question, how will I know when I'm ready? And how do I talk about my story without involving my ex? They both have this like same like unresolved knot where you're still trying to figure out who you are when your ex-wife isn't in the picture. So until you can answer that question, who you are without her, dating strategies, conversation scripts, all of that is going to be like rearranging the furniture before the house is even constructed.
Yeah.
You've got to decide right now who it is that you are, what it is that you bring to the table. Go so far to decide who it is that you're looking for. You have to be in the driver's seat. You have to make those decisions for yourself. So doing that is going to answer both of those questions.
Yeah. I also I like the question. I like that you're thinking about how to talk about past relationships without involving your ex. But I don't mean that in like you need to avoid having your ex in the conversation at all. Like that was a part of your life, and it's okay to be honest about that. You shouldn't feel like you have to like hide anything or like dance around the fact that you have an ex. Like,
right. I mean, what's kind of ironic is he had no problem telling us that he had a jail stint or that he's in therapy. Why would you have a problem acknowledging that you have an ex?
Yeah, I think acknowledging the fact that you had this past relationship, it was a big part of your life in various ways, without going into detail about your ex is totally appropriate. Like you don't have to talk about your ex's tendencies or why it's never going to work out with your ex or what you did and didn't like about your ex. Like those are topics that you don't ever really need to bring up with a future partner.
Yeah.
But the topics that you do need to bring up are like the pieces of your life that were a big part of your life. Like those are things that women want to know about.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know about like these big times in your life
Because they want to know what you learned from them.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And so that's always the place. If you're ever, this is for everybody listening, if you're ever thinking about how should I talk about my past relationships, always position it from a growth standpoint.
Right.
How far you've come since that relationship, what that relationship taught you about yourself, about what you want and look for in a future partner or relationship. I would say less of a future partner and more of a future relationship even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's less of a report on what has happened in your life and more of a declaration of who it is that you're becoming.
Yeah.
That is going to be very attractive if you handle it in that way.
Yeah. And so if it gets brought up, like I would just be honest. I would just be honest about what the past however many years have looked like for you. You don't have to hide the fact that you were in this long-term relationship. Wait, were they married? They were married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that you were married and then divorced and then that you got back together for a small period of time. Like all of that information is relevant and it's okay to share those things. You just be mindful of like not letting that turn into bashing your ex or even talking in a kind way about your ex. Like I think certain details like you can keep to yourself. You don't have to talk in that much detail about a person that you used to be in a relationship with.
Yeah. Yeah. And
unless there's like do they have kids involved? They have their fur babies.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like if you have kids involved, that's a little bit of a different story. Like if this person like has to still be involved in your life, that's a little bit of a different story. I think it's fair to like give your future partner or somebody that you're in a relationship with more context than that. But I think in the early stages, especially, like you don't need to go into that much detail on an ex.